Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bedomy and this is Irony Curtain from Matryoshka with Love. A 2D point-and-click adventure game developed by Artifex Mundi, whom you might know as the developers of Grim Legends series of point-and-click adventures, as well as Enigmatis. I think it's Enigmatis, not Enigmatics, but I'm not too sure. I didn't play too much of from their catalogs, so this is my second experience with their games. But from my experience, Artifex Mundi has a fairly decent, well, not just decent, but a good experience with developing point-and-click adventures. Granted, most of them are point-and-click adventures from the first-person perspective, and they are more or less oriented towards, I would say, realistic painting-looking aesthetic, but yeah, most of their games usually had this oil painting, realistic sort of visual style to them. So this is a big deviation for them, in all honesty. But it's not always a bad thing. This game is, I won't say it's a love letter, but it draws a lot of inspiration from Monkey Island, Full Throttle, and Sam & Max from the LucasArts series of games. Well, from the LucasArts era of point-and-click adventure games. And I'll show you what I mean that momentarily when we actually start the game, and you can actually see this in the opening, in the main menu, while you watch the animations of characters while they talk and look at the camera. And I know this kind of looks like a horror-based point-and-click adventure game, but it's a political satire of the Cold War era and spy thrillers. So, yeah, I'll tell you a bit more about the plot when we actually start the game. First things first, let's take a quick look at the options menu, because options-wise, this is all you get. You can adjust the volume of the music, the sound effects, well, the general volume, and the voices of the characters. You can adjust the brightness of the screen and also turn the full screen on or off. And control-wise, you cannot rebind anything, since the only thing you have to play with is the mouse. I mean, you can use the spacebar for highlighting certain objects, just to highlight interactable objects and characters, but otherwise that's about it. So, without further ado, let's get into the gameplay itself. As you can see, visually speaking, this game is taking a lot of inspiration from Deponia, Monkey Island, and, well, not the first two Monkey Island games. Those were pixel-based point-and-click adventures, but the third game and the subsequent point-and-click adventures of Monkey Island 3's time were usually drawn in this hand-drawn, cartoony comic strip style. So I'm kind of wondering, why did the main character, Evan, get the 3D model treatment? The guy sticks out like a sore thumb in this world. And that's kind of annoying in my book. I mean, just look at this. Every map I see in the world, it's beautiful to look at. They're nicely designed by talented artists. They have a nice combination of colors and small animations that keep the world interesting and fun to look at. And then there's this guy who is a 3D model with, well, interesting animations on his own as well, but I am personally not a big fan of this, because it kills the aesthetic for me, personally. But otherwise, yeah, I like how the world is designed. It has a lot of... It's drawn in a very clean fashion. The composition of colors is wonderful to look at. I'd say that the lighting is also fantastic, but since this is all drawn, the lighting effects were drawn in as well. I do have to give credit where credit's due. The shadows on Evan do, while minimalistic, they do switch up when he moves. Well, depending on his angle. Yeah, honestly, I really don't like the 3D model here. But that's beside the point. When I started the gameplay, I wanted to talk tell you the premise of the game. So Evan here is a communistic journalist from the US, or this world's parody of the US. So as you can probably imagine, Evan is not very popular at home, and he just got here by accident due to the fact that we were watching at the statue a moment ago, so let's get back there. He's in Matryoshka specifically because the local leader, I'm gonna call him Stalin at one point, but yeah. The local leader saw him on TV and wanted to talk to him for one reason or the other. And the local secret service is also trying to use him as a unknowing spy for... Well, everyone is trying to use Evan as a spy. The US is trying to use him as a spy in Matryoshka to spy for them, while the local authorities are trying to use him as a spy to get closer to the leader and get rid of him, or to protect the leader. It depends on which party is involved. So, it's as I said, it's a satire on political and spy movies, and it does its job well. The characters are well written. The dialogue is always entertaining to listen to. Just yeah, let's go talk to some characters just to see what I mean. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out what to say that's actually related to this topic, but yeah, the story really follows the character. He's put into a situation where he is out of his element. He's a journalist. He's naive. He is incompetent, and anything physical. And most people can see that from a mile away. So they try to either get rid of him as quickly as possible, or they just try to use him for something else. But we'll give them props to the studio. They really know how to write their characters. Everyone has an interesting dialogue that will hint at to what the characters want and how can you solve a puzzle in the area. So let's just go with something here. This is a fun conversation.
It's not broken, comrade. It's POW.
It's POW?
Protected against anti-socialist use. You just need to remove the tape, comrade. I officially give my oral permission.
Thanks.
I hereby officially confirm the following orally. My official oral permission to remove the POW.
I officially orally approve the official oral confirmation of the official oral permission to remove the POW.
I officially certify orally the official oral approval of the official oral confirmation of the official oral permission to remove the POW.
I unofficially thank you, Comrade Biarutov.
No problem.
Now I understand why you prefer to have things in writing.
Honestly, yeah. This is... I think I can say this since I do live in a country that was formerly... yeah. I live in a country that was in Yugoslavia before, and that was a mini-Soviet Union in the Balkans, and yeah. Communists had this thing for permissions and applications, and a lot of things were done to help everyone, but in reality it was just a lot of red tape to prevent anyone from getting anything. Seriously, if you kill if you kill a couple of bureaucrats, nobody would notice the difference, since productivity would not increase or decrease. It's a lot of communist-based operations were just an excuse to give your relatives and party friends in the party a well-placed job. And but this is not this type of video. We're reviewing a point-and-click adventure game that's satirizing communism. Well, not just communism, but also... Okay, it's not directly making fun of communism, but it's Soviet. At least the Soviets a bit, and and the U.S. Way of when it comes to counter espionage and in general, it makes fun of a lot of topics in the Cold War, but most of them are usually directed towards the Soviets and the espionage type of things. I mean, there are a couple of references to other spy movies and even the Cold Era movies such as Red October and 007. Anyway,
When does the coat room open?
You need to ask the head of security.
as you can see, I did talk a lot. As you can see, there is a lot of things to do in every chapter. And speaking of chapters, every chapter has a couple of areas you have to visit, and they're not combined, but they're all linked together, so you can traverse from one area to the next, and once you finish one puzzle in there, another puzzle will unlock in a different area. So it's a typical point-and-click adventure style of puzzle solving. But this game does something, it does something correctly. It doesn't give you a direct solution. It gives you hints on how to solve a problem. You're presented with a problem, and then you could talk to other people and get hints from them, or you can look around the area and find some other hidden hints that you didn't know
Is
about.
the currency exchange open?
You need to ring the bell there 3 times.
You said something about a stamp?
Yes, please give.
I don't have a stamp, but I'll think of something.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
Bye.
Yeah. As you can see, I need to find a stamp for myself that I have to present to the receptionist here. And if you look at this closely, you'll see a poster on how to create a stamp of sorts.
That's the part that does.
So my general idea here is to find a place where I can find something that can double as a stamp. And since I was given the permission to unlock the vending machine, I can find something that will work as a stamp. As you can see, there are a couple of items that I can pick up here. I just need the money for it. So this is just this is just some help from me on puzzle solving. If you want to get an item, any of these items, take a look at these red stamps here. These are shadows of these buttons. So whichever shape you're looking for, it's the exact opposite. I'll give you a second just to find the. No, that's not it. Not it. Nope. Yeah, this is the one. See, if you combine the two, you'd have a completely black button. So yeah, these are highlights or shadows from the button. Since I don't have the money, I need to get to the currency exchange, get some money out of it. But first things first, let's just take a look at around the world. So as you can see, as the game goes, you will have to explore the area of every area of the chapter. Yeah. So yeah, as every chapter goes, you'll be locked into specific areas, or you'll be locked to a certain area and have to solve a certain amount of puzzles in order to get the key to the second area, or just find a way out of the area and continue on with the story. Every puzzle is solvable. You cannot just puzzle yourself into a corner. If you cannot solve something at the particular moment, you can just come back to it later. Maybe a character will give you a hint, or maybe you'll find an item that's missing or whatnot. But yeah, this game will not punish you for being unknowledgeable. You can always go to the local phone and call a scribbled down number for help.
6.
Yeah,
2.
let me just demonstrate.
5.
You've reached the Ideological Support Hotline. This is Political Officer Nikai Bredniev. Please.
I just love this. Yeah. As you can see, this is it's a funny little part of the game. It's supposed to help the newer players, at least to the players who are not familiar with point-and-click adventures, with some hints and well, it'll never tell you the whole answer. It will give you suggestions as to how to solve a certain puzzle. And it's nicely woven into the world itself, just to justify why is there a helpline. And no matter the era, you'll always find someone. You will always find a phone that will allow you to call for help. And let's just go for.
To buy the keychain.
Let's go for something basic here.
Top row right button.
Bottom left, top right. Thank you. I feel like I can.
There you
thanks
go.
for now, officer. Goodbye.
Yeah, as you can see, every puzzle has a solution. You can always call for help, and you'll be steered in the right direction. But most of the time, the game does try to give you hints before you go for the helpline, so you don't feel like an idiot for failing something.
Like
there are
I've seen
some
that face before, but
there are some
a lot
crazy
of the
man
match
logic
options I've met
puzzles
look
there.
alike. Wait, am I allowed to say that? I probably shouldn't have said that.
And yeah, there is some modern humor in these games as well,
Yes, foreign currencies
such
are
as political
available.
correctness and whatnot.
You must exchange it now.
Oh, of course. Would you be so kind as to tell me
yeah,
in
so
general what the price is?
early on in the game, you'll have some very funny.
Left the hotel in over an hour, so I'm not sure.
I don't understand.
If you like, comrade, I could tell you a joke to help you understand. Just please keep it to yourself, as it's not very politically correct.
Of course, goes without saying.
A
See what I
boy
mean?
says to his
Every
Daddy,
early on in the
let me
game, you'll have a
1,000 rupiekas. And the dad says, 2,000 rupiekas? Tell me, son, what do you need 5,000 rupiekas for?
And
That's it.
I don't think I understood it, but thank you.
yeah, that
Thanks for the
really was a thing in Soviet Russia and Yugoslavia. Anyway, as I was saying, every conversation will have some very well written and nicely voice acted jokes in the story itself. So I recommend that you stay a while and talk to everyone as much as possible before you progress through the chapter. From every chapter to the next, from one chapter to the next. There's always something funny to do.
A collar?
It's
Unfortunately, all I have is one single collar. I assume I can't buy much with that.
Well, then you'll be living the fancy life, comrade. You are like rich king. Congratulations.
Whoa! All this cash for just one collar? What an exchange rate!
yep. As you can see, we for one collar, you got 5. Let's see, that's 2, 4, 6, 7. Whoa! You got 50 million in rupiekas. Although if you followed that joke we heard, this money is next to useless.
I'll treat it.
Will be next to useless in a couple of minutes. So let's see. Yeah, we just gave the exchange officer a single rupieka. So as you can guess, money here is not something everyone has access to.
Let's say I take
So,
care
yeah,
of
you can always
the
experiment.
for you, comrade?
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, you could try to bribe people, but it will never work. As you can see, you could try to bribe your way through situations, but that will never work. You'll have to.
A sign that reads,
You'll really have to
"Member
work your way in
citizens
order
all-"
to. You always have to work your way through puzzles. You can't just buy your way out of situations. And the game usually finds some clever ways to, well, to force you to do the puzzles. because the situation in Matryoshka is terrible. People don't have anything, so giving money to everyone is considered as a donation or just a friendly gesture. They will not try to help you because they're too afraid of the KGB of the game. So as you can see, if I press space, I'll see the hints for every interactable object in the area. So let's try to solve some additional puzzles here before we do anything else. I'm honestly trying to keep the spoilers to a minimum on this one because these types of games usually spoil themselves after every puzzle. Well, the narrative goes on after you solve a puzzle, so you cannot avoid spoilers, unfortunately. So as you can see, I am currently interested in getting this keychain, so I'm gonna follow the instructions I got from the helpline and just grab the keychain. But I can also purchase some other objects if I can figure out the combinations for them. This postcard is, I think, next to useless, but if you want an achievement for it, you can just waste your money away and try to figure out the combination. Since there are 9 key bindings in total, well, there's also 9 objects, well, 8 in this case, so that's 9 times 8, that's 72 combinations you have to go through. Or 8, well, to be true, you have to go through 81 combinations, and anyway, that's advanced mathematics. I'm just gonna try to get the chewing gum here, so that would be this and this would make it. I'm missing this. Yes. There we go. I managed to get the necessary items to create a stamp. But this is just an early level of the game. The further you progress through the story, the more challenging the puzzles get. But honestly, I do love the game for what it is. It has interesting puzzles that gradually get harder and harder, and the story gets funnier and more interesting as it progresses. And honestly, I am not too sure what can I say to you that's without spoiling too much. I mean, I can show you a bit more around the hotel before I do anything, but yeah, the game is something I would recommend. I would recommend that you guys play for yourselves when you have a chance. If you're interested in adventure games, or if you just want to try them out, this is a pretty good starting off point. There is it's a niche market, not gonna lie, but most point-and-click adventures usually have some comedic twist to things. And they have to, because when they go to hyper-realistic type of story, they become boring and frustrating fairly quickly. I mean, if you ever played Art of Murder puzzle games, Art of Murder point-and-click adventures, those are pretty frustrating because you're playing as an FBI agent in a very realistic situation, and most of the puzzles are, well, bounded to some laws of common sense and reality, but also FBI procedure and they're not as fun or challenging to solve. And seriously, there are some puzzles that will just frustrate you because there are no hints for you to actually solve the case easily. You just have to randomly guess on those. But otherwise, yeah, I would recommend that you try Matryoshka. It's a fun little adventure game that you can play at your leisure. It saves automatically when you try to exit the game, which is unfortunate if you're interested in solving a particular puzzle multiple times or just talking to specific NPCs more than once for the sake of the comedy. But otherwise, yeah, I would recommend that you guys play this at your earliest convenience. Okay, that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you pick this game up when on sale or anywhere else where you find them. And I'm gonna hop off because my dogs are going crazy again. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Bedomy, and I'll see you next time.